I personally think it's a smart strategy to have an assortment of ways by which you source and acquire Bitcoin. I mean, this could be anything from Bitcoin mining to making purchases on a centralized exchange to making purchases on non-KYC peer-to-peer platforms, of which I've done a number of tutorials on this channel across all of those different categories. And another category that I think makes a lot of sense are Bitcoin ATMs. I know people who have been cut off from their banks by being able to purchase through one of these other methods. And so the ability to have and take physical cash, go up to a Bitcoin ATM and make a purchase is potentially a really useful tool to have in your tool belt. Now, across all these categories, there are going to be trade-offs in terms of price, like how competitive is the price and the fees that you're paying when you make a purchase. How private or not private is this? Is it a fully KYC'd centralized exchange? Is it sort of KYC light? Is it, non-KYC? And again, it's hard to get all the way to that other side of the spectrum, but I'm excited to cover today Unbank. They have one of the biggest Bitcoin ATM networks that I've seen. This is a little bit US centric, but I think the general principle of Bitcoin ATMs is going to be relevant for all of you watching. Without further ado, let's jump in and take a closer look at Unbank. You can come and see the different services they offer. You can buy and sell Bitcoin. They have an app, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And then the two primary methods that they support is you can buy Bitcoin at one of their ATMs. They have, I think, 28,000 plus ATMs across the US. So one of the biggest networks I've seen, and that network coverage is a big deal. People have commented on other videos I've done in the past of, one of these things is not near me. And again, it's not a guarantee that one of these is going to be right near you, but that is a pretty big deal. And then interestingly, they also have the ability to buy at various locations. And this includes even major retailers like CVS, Rite Aid, Office Depot, and others where you can buy with cash at the register. Now, there is a catch, as we will discuss. That does, as far as I can tell, require a full sort of identity verification through their app to do that latter method. So do keep that in mind. And so you can take a look in their locations depending on what you want to do. So if you want to buy, you can come over, enter your location, and or just search, whatever kind of state or area that you're in. You can filter to cash at register, Bitcoin ATM, and see all sorts of options. Okay, so here's what the mobile app looks like. And you can even see one of my transactions there that I did earlier, which we will showcase here in just a moment. But this just gives you a handy place. You see the locations tab there at the bottom. Now, some of you may say, oh, the last thing I want to do is, share my live location in any way, shape, or form related to Bitcoin. And I don't blame you. So maybe the mobile app here is not for you. If that is the case, again, you can always just take a look at the location of the nearest ATM just simply on their website. But this just gives you a handy way to do that. And it also gives you a way to purchase at the register of some of those locations as we were talking about. So if you were to say, hey, I want to buy and I want to do the cash at register, you will see that I need to complete that identity verification to enable that service. So that is obviously a trade-off, but you're going to get lower fees by doing that. And again, that really is the trade-off in all of this. If you're going with like a Coinbase, you're going to pay very low fees, but you're going to do the full KYC process. So again, always a trade-off. So with all that, I suspect most of you watching are probably going to be most interested in the Bitcoin ATMs because you have the best privacy properties there in terms of a method of buying Bitcoin. So let's take a look at me actually buying from one of the Unbank ATMs, and I'll sort of overlay some commentary and then we'll talk about how I did it. Okay, so here I am at the Unbank ATM. I'm selecting what I want to buy, which is Bitcoin. I'm saying, hey, I have my own wallet. We will talk about that in just a moment. I'm saying, hey, it's fine. All sales are final. And so here's that key distinguishing factor up to $900, which is where you get this kind of KYC light method. And so anything up to $900, all you need is a phone number in order to do the verification. I'm going to talk about this because this is crucial. But I've basically put my phone number in. You could put any name. They ask for your name. You can put anything. And now I am feeding in some money to the ATM. I have also, at this point, scanned my Bitcoin address, which I will show you how to do in just a moment. But I know this is pretty trash footage, but you get the point. So I've basically put cash into the ATM after scanning my Bitcoin wallet address, and I'm going ahead and hitting buy. You will see this additional fee of $5. Plus, in this case, it was actually a 13% markup from the exchange rate. And so at the end of that process, here is what I got. So this was the wallet whose address I scanned. And so I simply said receive here. I let the ATM scan that QR code, and that's how it knows where to send the Bitcoin. And you can see here is that transaction. So I bought 31,464 sats for $40 in cash. The total unbanked fee for that, again, with the exchange markup plus the miner fee that you are paying, was $9.56. So that is very steep. Again, you can get a lot cheaper than that by purchasing directly through their app. So again, I just sort of sauntered up to the ATM with nothing other than a Bitcoin wallet and a phone number and some cash. But if you did everything through the app, you do get a lot lower fees. So again, like that is a big trade-off, but that is how that process works. Now you may ask, well, what wallet am I using here? This is something called Blue Wallet. It's a great Bitcoin self-custodial wallet that you can just download on your phone. And once you download it, you will obviously not have any of these little tiles, which are each little wallets. And so you could just come to this plus icon in the top right, name your first wallet. So, Unbank demo. I just want a simple Bitcoin wallet. You can use Blue Wallet to create multi-sig vaults, which is pretty cool. You'll say create. It'll give you your seed phrase. Obviously, I'm not going to actually use this wallet. Do not share your seed phrase ever with anyone. Okay, I wrote it down. And so here is your new wallet. So that's pretty easy, right? You download Blue Wallet, create a new wallet, click into it, and then you can say receive. And it's going to give you this notification the first time you use it. You say, yes, I have. And then boom, that's what you would scan with the ATM. So that's the Bitcoin wallet side of things. Again, there's many other wallets that you could use. I'm just using Blue Wallet as an example for how to do that. The other critical ingredient, again, this is assuming that you are kind of privacy minded. You want to minimize the KYC that you're doing when purchasing Bitcoin. And therefore you're purchasing up to 900. That's that kind of magic threshold. Obviously, the critical piece in what you saw in that walkthrough is that there is an SMS verification. And so what I tried to do is use this service majorphones.com. I saw some really good feedback on it from some different Reddit threads and other sources in terms of, privacy. So I was able to get set up on this with no KYC whatsoever, right? You just chuck an email in there. You can pay in Bitcoin for this number. You can see this little number here that I bought earlier for $3. It's an all-day phone number. It's like an actual phone number. It's active, blah, 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 blah. But the problem is I never received the text message from the ATM. Unfortunately, the Major Phones service did not work for me. There's a bunch of others. There's Text Verified, which I've used in the past, but I haven't in a little while. And if you just Google search SMS verification service, you'll see all sorts of different options. So I'm curious if any of you watching have a particularly good recommendation. Maybe I can try again and see if that works. But unfortunately, I ended up having to use my actual real phone number for the SMS verification, which of course I think counts at least as a part of KYC. It's not my full sort of, address and all the kind of identity information and verification. So that is a big plus versus what you would get on, say, a centralized exchange. But it is sort of tethered still to you if there was enough kind of government might behind wanting to trace all of this stuff together. So again, I go through that in anticipation that a lot of you watching are looking for the most private way that you possibly can purchase Bitcoin. Okay, I was doing some additional research during the editing of this video, and MySudo is a service that does work for the SMS verification. Now, these things change, right? So maybe it works today and it might not work in the future, but that is one that I wanted to highlight and call out for those of you that want to give that a try. I do think, particularly for people who just, maybe you deal in cash, maybe you have a cash-based business, maybe you have faced pressures or issues with your traditional financial institution in terms of being able to purchase Bitcoin, with other methods like cards or your bank wire, right? There's a lot of people for whom this is a crucial way to acquire Bitcoin, but I also want to be honest and open about all of the different trade-offs. With all of that, let's go ahead and conclude today's video. All right, so today we took a look at buying Bitcoin from a Bitcoin ATM, an Unbank Bitcoin ATM to be specific, using physical cash. We saw that sort of KYC light method. Again, you have that text verification. I tried, as we discussed, the Major Phones SMS verification service, and I didn't receive that. So I may tinker with some other services, but I'm curious for those of you that want to try some of those other services we discussed, if you have any luck. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Unbank? What do you think of Bitcoin ATMs in general? Again, there's going to be some of these trade-offs that we discussed. You're going to pay higher fees. You're going to get better privacy in a lot of cases and in a lot of ways, and you're going to be able to buy Bitcoin with physical cash. But again, there's always trade-offs. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But I hope you found this valuable and insightful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Use the share feature underneath this video. That really does help get this to a broader audience. And if you are so enamored with this content and you want to donate to a pleb, which really does help me continue to make these videos, you can do so in a number of ways. There's the YouTube Super Thanks feature built directly into YouTube, or my preference, you can zip some sats my way on the Lightning Network to my Lightning address, ragermajor@getalby.com. And for those of you that want to get in touch one-on-one, I'm now working with a number of clients on all sorts of topics related to self-custody, running a Bitcoin node for the first time, privacy best practices, and more. You can reach out to me at vita.io/IanMajor. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave things here. As a reminder, every sat counts. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you then.